Hey guys, my name is Aethel Sierra and I am part of the front-end developing team for BreazeHome 4.0. The mentor for our BreazeHome 4.0 project is Aaron Fang, a research assistant at FIU. The product owner for our BreazeHome 4.0 project is Dr. Masood Sajjadi. BreazeHome 4.0 is an academic project originated and led by Dr. Masood Sajjadi to help his students learn agile software development in the context of a web-based real estate application that provides property information and services for home buyers, sellers, renters, and realtors. Presented in the slide is the system design architecture for BreazeHome 4.0, in which my main contribution is with BreazeHome desktop website, known as front end. My user story is about implementing a feature in which a registered user is allowed to hide and unhide hidden properties to have organized search results. The acceptance criteria of my user story is having a hide and unhide radio button under property filters. If clicked, the radio button does the action, but nothing more if clicked again. The user can manipulate the feature depending on whether hide and unhide is selected. User can click on the eye open icon if hidden or eye close icon if unhidden. As the property is hidden or unhidden, the search count is dependent on the action. If the user is signed in, they are allowed to use the feature. If not, the user is not able to use the feature and prompted to sign in or create an account. Which my user story consists of using AngularJS, HTML, and Sass. Before showing any types of code, I would like to go over the diagrams. So as a registered user, since my user story has only a registered user actor, since non-registered users are not able to use the feature, the registered user is able to go to the property listing, hide the property listing, and inside that property listing there is a hidden icon and an unhidden icon, in which is manipulated by the filters, which extends when you click on the drop-down menu, and hide hidden properties and unhide hidden properties is the extension of the filters when shown in the menu, as the user can manipulate to toggle it. As for the class diagram, we have different types of functions in the results controller. All these functions in the results controller I will get into as I explain the code. Each function is very important in order for the feature to be used correctly. The results controller extends to the filters, where in the filters you get to select the hide hidden properties and the unhide hidden properties. As you're selecting in the results view page, the property results, which is the property counter, will be displayed, and it will be manipulated depending whether you hide, it will decrement, and if you unhide, it will show all. As for the sequence diagram, as a registered user, I would like to display the page. Therefore, when I enter BreazeHome, I will see the results page. When I see the results page, the only action I have by default is hide hidden properties. So I would hide the filter. The hide filter will go to the result controller. It will go back to the views page, the results view page. It will update the property counter. And now the user can either stay there and be happy or continue and select the unhide hidden properties as they go to the filters. When you select that radio button, the radio button updates the property counter to go back to the results page as you close the filter, and as well as all the properties are being shown. You can now then, by preference, toggle the property in the results controller by selecting the hide hidden properties in the filters. If you do, then you'll be able to show the hidden properties and the property counter be updated. So no matter how you go about it, it will always update the counter, whether decrementing or incrementing, and it will show all properties, or it will just hide the property itself. As this being shown, the action is mentioned to the user by a toaster, which is actually added. I will now go into Parallels, in which that's my VM, and I will discuss about the code that I implemented. It first started in the results controller. In the results controller, you will see that I did a root scope toggle login, which equals to false, which this is where the actual toggle login for when you are not registered, the drop-down menu will prompt you to the main home page, and the drop-down will drop. The show property is obviously false because you would actually not want to show all the properties. You want by default to hide all the properties. So a toggle used to hide each individual property as shown as dataset. These two functions are the toasters. When logged in, a user clicks a button to hide the hidden properties. Then when logged in, an user clicks to unhide hidden properties. So the property has been hidden, the property has been unhidden. This scope is for the user not logged-in function. When the user is not logged in and they click on the feature, this is the template URL in which redirects them to the main home page. As far as this is the actual controller to the landing controller, which in the controller everything is stated and nothing has been touched. This function is the redirect to landing, in which the redirect user feature is clicked and the user does not have an account, which again is when the user clicks on the icon and the user is not able to use it. Therefore, this root scope toggle login equals true, the window location equals to the landing page. When you go to the landing page, the only actual if statement I included was all the way in the bottom, so I don't interrupt nobody else's code, which is the root scope to toggle login. If the scope is a toggle login, root scope toggle login equals false. Therefore, when the actual main home page pops up by itself, it will actually drop down the menu for you could create an account or sign in. This hide filter function is to hide each property on the user's interest. So if the scope shows all properties, return true. Else, return item visible. The property counter is dependent on hiding properties from results found. So depending on the user's preference, the property counter function works by actually showing if they're going to decrement or increment the search results being shown. As for the last function is the show all. This is when unhide hidden properties is selected. It will be manipulated by the selection of the user and show all properties. The last thing done in the results.js code is under properties get by filter, I added a for loop with a variable I and scope properties. So by the scope properties being visible equals true. This is for all listing properties being displayed. To continue, we now go to the results.html page. This is where I implemented the hide and unhide under filters UI design. So as for the columns under the filters pane, this is where I inputted my own ID, since the ID is going to help for the testing. The type radio, which is the radio button, the properties, and the name change. Show all false, show all true, depending on which selection. This is very important because if you don't have this show all false and true and ng change and have the actual value, ng value, be the same, when you actually click on the radio button, you could click it twice and it'll actually just go to the other selection. We don't want that. We want to be able to just click the button twice and stay there, not be able just to manipulate through one radio button. If not, it makes no sense to have the other one. I now go where I manipulated the property. Under here, the only thing I added in manipulate property counter, which is right here, is data binded depending on the length. So I data binded the property counter function, in which I talked about in the results JavaScript controller, and I data binded the storage in there, which means that the result number being given, depending on what the user searches, it will actually have a property counter and the results number will pop up. As for the property card, the property card is already having ng repeat, therefore all properties are being shown the same thing. This is tricky because once you manipulate one thing under this div, remember every single property card is going to have that action. So be careful. I then added also ng-hide. ng-hide is basically the property toggle, property.toggle, which in the results.js is where you actually have the ng-hide occurring according to what the user selects when they hide the property. As for hiding a property, if the user is logged in, they get to actually toggle the property and hide the property, go to the filters pane, use it, and so on and so forth. That's where the ng click toggle property by the event of the property. All the property cards again have this because of the ng repeat above in the div. So you write this inside that div. I gave it an ID due to testing purposes, and if user selects hide hidden property, the ng hide will not show all properties. Therefore, the icon I. This is when the user actually clicks on the icon and it hides. As for this line right here, this is the opposite. When the user clicks unhide hidden property, after clicking the filters unhide hidden properties, the property is now visible by the icon I none, and now the user gets to select it. As for when the user is not registered, the user will just be prompted to the user not login function, which that bit takes me to talk about the pop-up. And from the pop-up, this is the HTML for the pop-up, in which when selected, this message will pop up and you get to have the option to redirect to the landing page, which is the home page, and the drop-down menu clicks down, depending if you want to create an account. To show you guys that this feature actually works, here are the different unit tests. The user wants to hide certain search results by clicking an I open icon. The user wants to unhide search results by clicking on I close icon. The user wants to toggle between certain search results by hiding them again. The user wants to toggle between certain search results by unhiding them again. An unregistered user wants to hide search result by clicking on I open. Therefore, when this happens, they just get to the unregistered menu and the pop-up to prompt the user to sign in or log in. To sign in or create an account, sorry. The last test is an unregistered user wants to unhide certain search results by clicking on the I close icon. I will now show you guys the Selenium, in which this is where the test cases begin. In Selenium, these are all the imports from the Selenium web drivers. This right here is the class to hide a property in terms of the test case, and these are all the different types of functions. So you guys don't have to see all of the test cases. I will show you one in terms of actually going through the whole loop that all the buttons work and everything. I will now show you the testing from Selenium. As you can see, the property is being hidden by the automation tool. 2 of them are being hidden right now. You wait a couple seconds, the drop-down menu comes from the filters, the hide hidden properties get selected to unhide hidden properties, the filter will close, and you now will unhide one of the properties. As you unhide one of the properties, you will toggle back to hide hidden properties, close the filter, and you should now have 99 results. Therefore, by running the test in 52 seconds, we got an OK. That means that this test case, which in reality was at least 4 of the 6 test cases are already done. I will now go to actual BreazeHome and show you guys in the production site. You go to browse all properties. I would do the same as the automation, but the pop-up menu pops up because I'm not really signed in. Therefore, let me go sign in. As I sign in, now I will browse all properties. Now I'm able to actually use the feature. Property has now been hidden. Any of these properties can be hidden. We have 97 results. I now want to unhide all hidden properties. I'll close the filter, all 100 properties show up, which is the show all function. I now only want to unhide one of them. I should have 98 results when I click Hide Hidden Properties. There you go. Now in summary, using AngularJS and HTML, the Hide and Unhide button was implemented for users to toggle their search results. Radio buttons are added in the filters drop-down menu for the user to decide if they want to unhide and hide their hidden properties. Registered users are able to use the feature for organized results. Remember, only registered users. If you have any questions regarding this unique filters feature or about the BreazeHome 4.0 project, feel free to contact me or Dr. Masood Sajadi. The information is presented on the screen. I hope this user story video was very informative and gives you an idea about this feature. Thank you for listening.